if the engine falls out. So that's lovely. Paul can have his bus back, because I don't want it here. Quiet, quiet. We'll just tiptoe out of here. Paul's bus is back. I honestly don't even know what to say. He gives me a call the other day. I guess the bumper fell off. So it's coat hanger hooked up there right now. It's not like fallen off yet, but not the type of thing you can stand on. I don't know. I bought some metal. There's not a lot to weld to. The real issue here is that where the bumper bolts up to on the underside happens to be also where the engine rear support member clamps up and holds the engine in at the back. So the real problem here is that Paul's worried that his engine's going to fall out. We just put that engine in, and I was joking with him that the whole bus was really rusty. Well, yeah, I guess I'm future Brandon, and now it's future Brandon's problem. So let's get into it. I haven't looked under this thing yet. Let's do this together. It's the only right and just thing to do. Well, yeah. There's the hooks. I was instructed to give those hooks back too. His wife Suzanne has some use for them, and so desperate times for desperate measures, but the hooks must be returned. Here's the, this is the engine support mount that goes to this side of the frame, which, as you can see, is not really a frame anymore at that point. It does look like there's some frame structure over here. Okay. Maybe not much frame structure. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, well, we're gonna have to figure this out. And it, yeah, Over on this side of things, there's only this hole. Only. And whatever is there, and it's better. I don't know if I want to worry about this side yet. Oh, damn. You know, I told him I would do my best on this. I honestly, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and do my best. When he told me this happened, I measured on another bus that I have here, and I already ordered up some box steel. So at least I've got something to work with. We're gonna give that a shot. I'm gonna, I guess, take the bumper off. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't think I'll ever get it back on this side again. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Honk if the engine falls out. I'll be honest. I don't need to complete that sentence. Wrong size socket. We're just gonna do our best. That's all we can do. We can only do our best. We can only try. This thing's gonna attack me. I just know it's gonna attack me. Not real excited about all this. I think what has happened here is that the nut on this side is just spinning. Yeah. I don't want to cut it. I gotta figure this one out. Maybe I can actually still grab onto it with something. I have to see if I can look up in there. Well, kids, don't try this at home. I didn't do anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I certainly wouldn't have kicked it. I would never. It would never have kicked it. I'm a Porsche mechanic. I know how to remove a bumper. Paul actually did a really good job with the hooks on this side. I'm especially glad that they didn't fall off while I was kicking the bumper. I did think that was a possibility. Okay. Well, now Suzanne can have her hooks back. Paul's wife. I don't know what these go to. They hang pottery or something. Kitchen pots, maybe. I don't know, but she said they were her pot hooks. So now she can have her pot hooks back. And Paul can have his bus back, because I don't want it here. No. Fine, we'll fix it. My goodness. It was this one right here. That one didn't want to come free. Just kicked it off of there. That one. Just had to kick it. Sometimes you got to give it a good kicking. It takes a kicking and it keeps on falling apart. So now that I've professionally removed the bumper, there's all this other stuff to do. I gotta see if the engine's gonna fall out if I loosen up the mustache bar. Probably put a jack or something under the engine just to support it, but it should be pretty well held in by the transmission. So we hope, we cross our fingers, we pray, we hope. Let me show you this box steel that I have. Not rusty. 1.5 inches by 3 inches. We're gonna see. I think I'll be able to like section this up, put it in there, weld it up. I sure hope so. Everything that I'm welding to is rusty though. Nothing's got this kind of structure to it anymore, so I really have no idea what I'm gonna weld to, but I gotta figure something out. We can't just leave it like this. Can we? Please? Do you need a bumper? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna remove the end bracket for the mustache bar that holds the engine in, the rear engine support bar. I'm gonna call it a mustache bar because that's the slang term that all VW guys have given it. So I'll show you though. There's this end support, there's all this rust. This is what we're gonna do. So there's these 2 bolt holes, or well, they will be bolt holes. Excuse me while I get this rust out of the way. Okay, so there's 2 bolts that pass through this bar here that hold this end plate onto this bar. And you can see you can offset the end plate. There's another 2 holes there because these end plates can go to either side. So you put it where it's gonna set up best depending on which side you've installed it on. So I'm gonna unbolt these 2 from this bar here, which then will allow this bracket, which is going over what was the frame, which is now, you know, not a frame, simply put. That's going to allow me to remove that bracket from here, and I'm not going to measure the drop on these bolts because I've got another bus here, and I'm just going to reference that other bus because I don't even think I can really take measurements on this. It's so decayed and rusty, I've just got nowhere to reference. So when the new piece is in there, I'll be able to take like a bottom-up measurement off of the other bus from like where the bottom of this was, but this is all decayed. I can't trust anything down here. That's what we doing. Like it or not, and I don't like it at all, but I don't make the rules. I just fix things. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna try. I now have the jack under the mustache bar. I've got 1 bolt out, got the second one loose. We're gonna see. Okay, it walked its way out of there. Now the mustache bar is disconnected from the bracket. Now all I have to do is take the bracket off. We should be okay. We'll be able to at least work on this section of things. It's not a perfect world, man. Join me on the floor. Now I've got to take these off to remove this bracket. Now, Paul and I recently put these on, and I can't remember if we, yeah. I didn't think we went crazy on them because it's so rusty. They're nylocks, and I think we just took them snug. So, gonna be able to unsnug them. Sucker tried to attack me. There is so much rust falling down, just little bits. You probably can't see it, but trust me, it's falling. I feel it going up my sleeve. All right, one bolt removed. Save that for later. Might need to grab a hammer, push this other one out. I think I'm gonna need to do that. Be right back. Gotta be careful hammering on this. I would hate for any abuse to happen to this vehicle. You know what I mean? All right, hammer or pry bar time. Hammer's working. Oh, more rust up my sleeve. I'm gonna grab the pry bar. That doesn't pry under that. I gotta think about how to, I don't think I can pry it with a pry bar. I wasn't thinking. It's unpryable. It's just gotta be wiggled off of there. Oh my God, all of the tetanus. Oh, it hits there on the mustache bar. Oh, I'm gonna have to lower the mustache bar. You mean to tell me that your perspective showed that the whole time? My perspective shows that there's air here. I can get my finger through there. So I'm thinking I gotta be able to lower this down further. I can't lower it down further. It's already as low as it goes on the inside of this. So it's fighting nothing the whole time. Now, if I can bend it far enough, I can get it off there, but that's not gonna help us for when I have to put it back in. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna do a trial run of lowering the engine down. That side's still connected, but I'm curious if this side will lower down at all, and that'll tell me exactly how much weight and emphasis is on this support bar. I only need to go down about an inch more, and then I can start repairing it. So, you know, after I take this off. Here goes nothing. Lowering down the jack. We did appear to come down a little bit, but not enough to do any good. We're still trapped. So here's what I think. I think I have to take that other side, unbolt it, and drop the mustache bar down. Because it's close, but it's not good enough. And it's rusty, but it's not rusty enough to just kick it off of there. Yeah. Okay, I got the jack in place. Now we're gonna see both sides are loose. We're gonna see if this makes a difference. The answer is it doesn't really make a difference. It didn't buy us that much space. I'm gonna actually have to pull down on that now to get to lower, because I don't wanna go unbolting the transmission trying to lower everything down. I can do that if I need to, but I really don't wanna have to do that. Then I might as well take the engine out, and that was not the whole point of this. This is supposed to be down and dirty, quick and easy. I mean, not easy, but quick. So. Woof. So much rust. Well, friends, I have good news. In fact, I have great news. The engine is so well supported by the transmission, I guess that part of the body isn't rusty, that it'll just hold itself in. So we don't even really need the mustache bar. I mean, we do technically for like when it's driving down the road and starts to come under torque, but we don't right now. So I'm gonna be able to take this whole thing up. I don't have to live on the floor anymore. I can start working on it kind of up higher in the air. There is also a full-on, about to go ballistic lightning and thunderstorm happening outside. Like a moment ago, I'd put the door down, but there was a crack of lightning. I mean, a bolt of lightning. was mind-blowingly bright and cut the sky in half. So that's happening. I think maybe the powers that be, the Volkswagen gods, are unhappy. Maybe it's because I kicked the bumper off, I don't know. But we're gonna try and fix this thing up. So, another good thing about that is, because it doesn't need that mustache bar to hold the engine and it's not just gonna fall out on me, God willing, we hope, I can loosen the mustache bar lower hold down bolts, and that'll allow the mustache bar to drop even lower. If my calculations are correct, and they rarely are. I'm kidding. They usually are, right? Because you measure a billion times and then you cut one time or kick the bumper off or whatever. Yeah, so mustache bar dropped down to the very bottom of its threaded points. It's resting now on the heater boxes on both sides. And it means that, wait for it, hopefully, this piece here can seesaw off of here. Please. Please, my friend. Well, I think I can do it, but not while I'm holding the camera. So I'm gonna put you guys in a safe location and pull that off of there. Well, now let's see if we can fight this thing off of here. I don't know. It's fighting me pretty good. There it is. In all of its glory, I guess. We could just weld a rail to the outside of this rail and just put it on the second set of bolts. Not really. This is out, and now I've got to see if my box tubing will insert down inside here, and then I've got to see if there's any way for me to put my box tubing up in here and weld it back into place. So, some figuring to do. First of all, will it go? Yes, it will. It's a decent fit. I'll take that. That's a major win. So now this welded up in here so that this can go back into place. Let's find out. Okay. I've changed into my welding hat because it's time to get really into it. I gotta start cutting things. I'm gonna have to just section in this frame piece up under here. There's no two ways about it. I mean, it's already sectioning itself. And yes, if you're wondering, that's where one of the engine support brace bolts was going through. So that's lovely. And the basic idea on this, if there even is an idea, is this. This kind of comes in here and hangs out. And, you know, there is some metal up top on this. So my thought is to make a cut parallel along here, kind of insert this in between and weld it into it, and then weld it down at the backside here. There's some rust over here I can't do much about, but I can get it welded nicely to right here. And I'll just try and keep as much of this support in place as possible and just skin over this new piece of steel. So I'm gonna cut, I'm gonna dissect, I'm gonna put on safety glasses and a respirator, and rust is gonna fly through the air. And then I'm gonna show you how everything is starting to take form. Look, I'm just doing it. Got my box steel cut, both ends. It's got a little cut down there because it fits up just so under right here. And then this side has a little cut and it fits just so and back. And the idea is that I'm gonna actually spread the original frame now that I've cut and sectioned out all the rust. Actually spread the original frame open and shove this up underneath it, and then seam weld wherever the original frame will still hold this. Try and get the bottom nice and true and level by using this rear point here that's not completely rusted. And that's where it always used to bolt up. This little saggy rust plate here is remnant of all that. I'm leaving that. It's tagged by a rivet or something. It's somehow magically being held. And I'm leaving that in place right now because I can use that for reference. The bumper hole is in that. It's just a good spot to be able to reference everything. So anyway, let me show you the sectioned out part of things and how it's all doing the thing. So here's where I've sectioned it all the way along to the front. I cleaned and ground out the inside of the frame there because it actually like bends in to accommodate an AC compressor, and just that's how the body's designed, and accommodate other things should it have other things. That's how it's looking. And this is again where this originally would have bent up like that and welded up there, and then this is the bumper hole on this side. I'm just leaving this, it's like hanging by a thread over here, just hanging by some rusty weld, but it's a good reference point. It's a good piece of original, good piece of original steel there to be able to reference off of. So I want that, so I'm leaving that in place. And then this is how this whole thing is fitting up. So under here, send this through to the front. This piece of steel fits up to there. You can see I've notched it and it fits up in there. And then, let me get it fit, okay. And then it runs from there, it runs along the top there, and you can see how it sits in back here. And then I got a little tang on the underside that I can weld to as well. So my goal is gonna be above my thumb here to spread this so that it'll accept this box tubing and then weld it all up. So I'm gonna spread this section. I've got a cut in it at the back there. I'm gonna grab it, spread it open, see if I can fit this box tubing in between it and this other piece of steel there as part of the frame, and then we can make this frame repair really happen. Now, I used to have a set of panel flangers, but I don't know where in the heck they got off to over the years. And I didn't use them all that much, and now they'd be really helpful. But a lot of times what I like to do when I'm gonna bend steel like this is I'll use an adjustable wrench, and I'll adjust it to the thickness of the steel more or less, so it can kind of give it some support on both sides, and then bend it out. And it works really well. Rust is flinging in my eyes right now. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Going to have to spread it a little more up front. We should be close. There you go. It's nested in there, and I'm not going to pound it in yet, but it can be pounded in a little bit to really seat it up even nicer, and it's going to be what it is. You know, we'll have to gusset some metal from the backside on it, but we're looking decent. Well, it's nice to be out of my welding respirator. I might have a mark on my nose. I don't know. Probably do. Feels like I do. Oh boy. That was a lot. That was just a lot of, I had sparks burning holes in me even though I'm wearing my welding shirt. It's getting old, I guess. It's not going up in flame, but it is burning holes now. So I got to get a new one of these. It was uncomfortable. I forgot how much I do not enjoy welding above my head with sparks raining down on me. Really don't enjoy that. That's something that I've now learned I don't like. I knew I didn't like it, but it's like reinforced now. But hey, okay, there's a good side and a bad side. And unfortunately, the bad side is the one that's facing out because that's where the metal was rustier. Anyway, I'm making excuses. Here's what it looks like. So there's two passes. There's one initial pass, and then there's a second pass on top of that. And you can still see through the metal up there. I mean, that's that's just broken away from this. So, you know, and there it's cut out so that we can get our nut, out, hot, forgot it was hot. Get our nut in place for the bumper and all that. So that's like how the factory would have been, but not really, because it would have been this whole plate here. This is going to get cut away from the bottom. I'm no longer going to have this rusted plate in place, but it will help me line up the bolt hole for the bumper. So we're gonna leave that for now. There's the cutaway. There it is, all gotten in there. And then this side of things is where it gets pretty. You can see the welds in there are much nicer, but the metal was much nicer and thicker. And there's a gusset piece, that rectangular piece with the heat soak on it. That's actually a gusset piece that I had to put in place because there was so much of the inner metal of the brace that was rusted that I had to make this like Z cut, this like zigzag in it. And so I had to fill metal there, but it turned out much better. I probably should have done that on the other side too, but you know, hindsight's 20/20. So yeah, the welds there turned out really nice all the way through. Now, while that cools, I'm gonna cut and fab a plate for this other side where I may or may not, allegedly, let's say, I don't know that anybody witnessed me stomping the bumper off. So I may or may not have kicked the bumper off on this side because the fastener was frozen and rusted and I was feeling like kicking things. Let's just say I did that. Let's say maybe there was video evidence and I was like, okay, I did that. So I got to repair that side. Now I've made the executive decision. This side is not going to get a frame rail reinforcement. Not yet. Someday it will need one. I'm going to wait until that day because this job has been zero fun and I do have some materials left over and I could go for it, but it's just not there yet. Anyway, I might convince Paul to do something nicer than this at some point. And so I'm not trying to like sink too much effort and energy into it right now because I really think that, you know, the whole thing, I mean, it's all just coming apart. You can see, I mean, and it's the whole bus. The whole bus is gone. I mean, these are pop riveted panels that are riveted over the actual bus. And we'll just put that back there. I don't know what this is, but we're just going to tuck it back in there. So, yeah. You know, the battery tray area under here needs to be fully redone. It's just got a piece of galvanized on top of it. You know, anyway. So I'm leaving this alone. I mean, I'm probably going to do something about it in a moment here because that's where the other bumper bolts is right there and would have been right here. But, you know, someone kicked that at some point. So, but here's where the actual mustache bar bolts up, and that's pretty solid still. And I'm thinking we leave well enough alone over here. So I'm going to cut this piece out. I'm going to get some steel plate for this, and then I'll weld a new section in there, and all will be right with the world. Well, all right, got the old hardware cut off of the bumper, and oh yeah, I still gotta trace my hole to the actual insert, but I painted everything up. That side's still drying. This side is pretty much dry to the touch. I utilized the hot steel for fast drying capabilities. And overall, the repair looks really good. I mean, you know, you can't really argue with it. I mean, you can argue all you want with it, but it's not going to do any good. So now I just got to drill holes. I got to locate things, drill holes, start bolting stuff up, and everything should be happy. I've got a silver Sharpie here so that it'll read right on the black. Shoot rust into my eyes a little bit with the Sharpie, I guess. That was fun. Yeah, something like that. Now it's time for this piece to no longer be a part of the bus. There we go. No longer a part of the bus. It did its job, and it did a good job for a while. For a long while. I'm gonna drill this hole, and then I'll be able to mark where I need to drill for my other bumper hole on this side. The next thing I need to do though is I need to put the actual mustache bar brace in, bolt it back up, get it in a position, and make my marks for where the holes should be on that. And then drill and do all of that stuff. I'm gonna reference a bus for where those should be on this cross brace. So I'm gonna go take some measurements on that bus, come back, correspond them to this, even though it's all rusty, put this piece on, get it kind of positioned up, drill my holes, go on with life. I do gotta say I've been having as much fun as can possibly be with this. And if you believe that, I got another one for you. I had to regrind because I drilled the holes where the brace needs to go, the mustache bar end cap brace plate. What are we calling that? So I drilled my holes there and there. They go all the way through. I measured everything, got everything done up the way that it's supposed to. I think it'll all fit up. I didn't actually even test fit the brace. I just went off of measurements. There's slots in the brace, so I figured good enough. Then I noticed, whoopsie, where these holes are located, my bead of weld was gonna be right in the way. Oopsie-daisies. So I had to grind all that weld down, and hopefully, when I slide the bracket into place, it'll actually fit over that because it's ground now somewhat smooth. Look, it's not a perfect repair by any means. It's a repair. It's gonna hold this thing together. I'm excited about it. We're this close to being done with this. Just watching paint dry right now. Okay, I'm impatient. I just want to try and finagle this thing into place. If it scratches the paint, I'll just, you know, we'll touch it up. We can touch it up. We've got the technology. So, come with me. Let's do this. Let's see what's possible here. I don't know. I'm maybe overly optimistic that we can make this happen. And if I need to, I can modify this bracket and grind this down a little bit just to clearance here and make it go in. But I'm kind of hoping I can just leave well enough alone and force it by. But it's gonna scratch up the, I think. Yeah, just scratched up the paint a little, that's all. Okay, that looks decent, that looks good. I'm gonna pop the bolts through it while it's there because it's there and I can do that. If I remember correctly, this big long one was the top one. I'll leave these loose until everything's done and then I'll snug them down. All right, now get this side back up into place. All right, we can do this. It would appear as though I have one bolt hole lined up. Let's see. That back one there, I think might be lined up. I'm not 100% sure. Not sure too if I can keep this light up here, but if I can, hey, that works. All right. Looky there. Let's see about this one. Is this lined up at all or will it go? Okay, it starts and then it just needs to be dropped down. Oh, ah, look at that. It goes through. Beautiful. I had to punch them back a little bit. It looks like the old ones were there. So I'll have to push the whole thing back some, but the jack no doubt is skewing it to the front. And honestly, it can be held wherever. There are no rules, which is why it's so slotted. Okay, there we go. That's looking really good. I'm quite proud of that. And I'm excited to put the bumper back on and stand on it. Now for the moment I know everybody has been waiting for. We're putting the bumper back on. Almost back on. We're mocking it up, bolting it to the two existing bolt holes that I have creating the two that I don't have so that we can put the bumper back on and then test its strength. And keep in mind, this was not just about the bumper, but as I did discover, that engine will tip and torque around a little bit because I had to pull it down to get that bar out. And then when I went to put it back in, I actually had to jack the bar back up. So this engine wouldn't have been happy and it would have been twisting around and hurting things. With this thing, you do need that mustache bar. VW designed it for a reason, and if your frame is rusting out like Paul's, get another bus. No, save it, save it, save it. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry. We love you, our getaway. We'll save them all. Save them all. All right. Here's what I'm thinking. I got a little step stool thing. I'm gonna rest the bumper on that. This is one of the hardest operations to do by yourself because bumpers are heavy and annoying and everything in life is awful. And I'm gonna cry. It's another pad. Get some of the rust off of these pads. Oh, wow. Got about a pound of bust down here in rust. Pound of bust rust. Well, I'll bring this bumper on over. See if it'll balance. Oh, it will. Oh, and hey, look, a rusted piece of something. Great. Okay, I'll walk this in. That's gonna need to go up there. Like that. So that'll go like that. We're gonna bring the bus down some. How's that? That's better. Now I can play with it. Now I can at least like bolt it up and it'll work out okay. I already pre-did my bolts. So my bolts are pre-done. Set up with a washer, a lock washer. I'm gonna put a little anti-seize around them so that they'll come out of this rusted frame better. Even though I'm about to put it on and take it off, I'm still putting anti-seize on there because I just wanna start treating these threads as best as possible. Now, the bumper is probably gonna fall on me after I kicked it because it didn't like being kicked any more than anything would. Oh, dang. I actually don't have a bumper hole, a back bumper hole over here. I thought I did, but I don't. This side's only gonna be on one and I have to drill it. Oh, that's disappointing. Well, such is life. It was on one before, this side will stay on one. I'll start by anchoring it up on this side then. Man, that was a bummer because I saw a bolt hole down there and I misunderstood it. I mistook it for a bumper bolt and it wasn't. It's all right. Well, what I might do then is utilize the jack. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bolt this side up all the way on the one bolt that I have, slide the bumper fore and aft, kind of get it in a nice spot on this side. And then I'm gonna make my mark for a bolt hole on that side, set that side up with a bolt as well. I may not even need to unbolt the bumper. I may be able to just drill it on the ground here and get a nut up in there. So we'll see, but I want this puppy done. All right, that's one bolt. Now I gotta center that up and drill it. Oh yeah, I used my angled drill earlier for drilling those mustache bar. That's how I was able to get into the fender and everything. So this thing, little air drill on an angle, very useful, very helpful. That'll be fine. Hey, check this out. We're only on one bolt on that side. I drilled it, tapped it, and bolted it. This side is on one bolt as well. And I've got to add a second bolt to this side. And then it's testing the bumper time. And then his job's done. Paul can pick his bus up and he can go camping this weekend, which is what brought this all on. He was like, I need to go camping this weekend. But he went over railroad tracks and his bumper fell off. And then he was like, oh my God, my engine might fall out. So here we are. Last bit of it. There you have it. Got 2 bolts there. And the bumper is well secured, I think. I'm gonna add 1 nut to this side just because there's one that's threaded, but I can put a nut on top. So I just wanna be extra sure. And so I'm gonna drop a nut on there and yeah, then it's test the bumper time. There's several pounds of rust dust on the floor. Absolutely stupid. Look at this. Look at this pile of bus. It's disturbing. That's awful. Well, there is a cutoff wheel in there, but that was part of it. Now, the moment everyone has been waiting for. Everyone. We're gonna test that bumper. Coming down. It looks good. I'm not sure I want to do this, but I promised I would. Did I promise? Did I technically promise this? Did I technically? I think I just said maybe we'll test it later. I think. All right. Just remember that I'm gonna do that side first because it's got 2 bolts. That's the sensible thing. Here we go. Oh yeah. Okay. We'll do like a little tightrope act, you know? Sure. All right, here we go. I'm gonna call that it. I'm gonna say that's a success story. I'm gonna ignore the fact that the bumper bent slightly. Maybe, I don't know, did it? Nah, it's good. It's a little loose on the actual bumper bracket, like the bumper mounts. It's just, you know what? Shh, quiet. We'll just tiptoe out of here. And that's it. Paul's bus has slightly less rust on it than it did before by several dustpanfuls. And he can go camping with it. We got there. We did it. It's fixed. The bumper is going to stay on for train track after train track. The engine will stay in, or I'll be seeing it again and doing the frame rail on the other side. But that's the frame rail repair. Thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for keeping track of Paul's crazy adventures and story with respect to this bus, our getaway. And just generally, thanks for being a fan of Aircooled. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. All those things help me. And I'm having fun doing this, and I really appreciate you guys' help. Your support, and the biggest thing is just watching. So thanks so much. Thanks for tuning in. Oh yeah, and if you want to, buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, buy a sticker pack from the store. Coming up really soon, I'm gonna have some cool new merch as well. But right now, grab the Aircooled t-shirt, grab the Aircooled hat, and be air-cooled. Keep your bumpers on, everybody.